want to get on with talking about a point that comes up every year and certainly has for the last 5 years, because it's now since 2012 no team from the English Premier League has reached the final. We've been watching some great football.
Do you want a long-winded, fancy? Not good enough.
Well, let's have a look at the numbers in this, okay? So since 1993, Spain has won the Champions League 9 times, and England's up there, 4 winners, 5 runners-up, just below Italy with 5, and 7 runners-up. But in the last 4 seasons, Spain is dominant, as you'd expect, with 3 winners, but England is bottom of that little table there, with no winners, no runners-up, 2 semi-finalists in the 5 seasons. Manchester City went out with a whimper last year, and Chelsea a couple of years before as well. What is the problem there, Graham? Why aren't they competitive, despite the sheer amount of money that's in the English Premier League?
I think there's one very obvious reason for me. I think the 2 very obvious reasons for me are 2 of the best players that have ever kicked the ball, ever. And one for me, the best ever, and Ronaldo and Messi. And we saw a week ago a team who weren't playing fabulous football, in my opinion, Madrid, dragged through the 90 minutes by one individual. And we've seen Ronaldo do that time and time again, and we've seen Messi do it time and time again, and that's why those 2 teams, in this period of Ronaldo and Messi, have dominated the biggest cup competition.
Can I ask you a question then, Graham? Right? Do you think Man United made a huge mistake, even though they got £85 million from him, or however amount of money it was? Do you think it was inevitable that he was going to go to Real Madrid, or could Man United have done more to keep him?
I don't think you can do more to keep him. I think he gave him an extra year. If you remember, there was all the talk of him going, and then Fergie would have, I imagine, persuaded him to say, look, give me 1 more year. I think if you're a Northern European, if you're one of us, you know, Man United, maybe the biggest draw. That's now and going back. If you're a South American or if you're Latin, it's Real Madrid or Barcelona. And I think it was one that Man United would have pushed the ball, would have done everything not to sell him. But ultimately, the players have all the power today. If they want to go, they end up going.
Is that enough of a reason, Brian? 2 of the great players of all time not playing in the
Well, I think you
Premier
also
League?
look at Bale going as well, and that the attraction is there when they want you, Real Madrid want you. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. If De Gea goes this year, Hazard, Dele Alli, 3 of the outstanding players this year, I think there's a danger they may go this year. So the attraction of being with teams that actually are going to try and win, or in a fair chance. I mean, this is Real Madrid's 7th semi-final in a row. There's no one in England that can compare to that. They have a chance of winning it again this year, which would be the 3rd win in 4 seasons. So that's a big attraction. The money's
well,
what
about Juventus? What about Dortmund making a final? What about Munich? It's not just about Real and
It's
Barca.
cyclical a little bit around some countries, and Italy have been in the doldrums for a few years now. Only Juventus has rescued it in recent seasons, and Napoli gave it a good old go this year as well. But it's been a while since the Italian teams. We had the period where you referred to earlier, where AC Milan were the dominant team. Inter, when Marino was the manager, won it. It was a little bit out of sync with what was going on.
Really,
with Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have been there and thereabouts every year. Barcelona there and thereabouts every year. The English teams have fallen off in recent years. The type of football they're playing week in, week out doesn't lend itself to the type of stuff we've seen from Juventus and Atletico. It's not of the quality of Barcelona and Real Madrid, and it's not of the defensive strength of Atletico or Juventus, who don't have maybe the really, really top players, but they have a system and a structure and an organisation that's effective against maybe what would be considered more teams with bigger finances and more higher wage scales. That's what I would say. Now, they've got to get themselves the balance on that. Guardiola hasn't got the balance with his Manchester City team. Spurs were way off this year. Beaten handy Monaco home and away. Struggled, lost to Leverkusen as well. Only beat CSKA. Was it the only win they had in the group? Way off at Spurs. And they're getting 2nd in the league this year. I think the English teams will be better next year. Chelsea under Conte will be better. They'll be stronger, more defensive, know how to go about it. I don't know whether Man City will be much better. Spurs, very hard to know. Although defensively they're considered the best team in England.
You can see Chelsea, obviously they'll maybe buy some Italians, but you can see Chelsea being a mirror of that Juventus team. The priority is to defend, keep a clean sheet, and they've got some very special players up front.
I just
And all
don't think
the socks off.
the Premier League's as good as it was 4 or 5 years ago.
You don't think it is?
No, I don't. I really don't. I look at Spurs finishing second and going on a wonderful run, but in the Champions League they've been awful. Then they get knocked out of the semi-final by a pretty weakened Chelsea side, and then when they're really asked to go and chase Chelsea, they can't do it. Chelsea have had a free run on it this year with no Champions League. Leicester won the Premier League last year.
Even knocked out the Europa.
Yeah, but Leicester go to the quarter-finals. They're the furthest of all the teams, and they're the Premier League champions. You can't tell me that Leicester are a great side. You know, yet and all, they're the Premier League champions. So,
but in ways they were modelled on that Italian Atletico Madrid things to some degree, wasn't it? It was about defensive, and they had a successful run playing that way.
Listen, they're my little club brand, but they should never be anywhere near winning the Premier League with all the wealth and size of all the other clubs in England. And I just think the quality has digressed over the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, Graham, you also work for Sky, who are involved in a TV bidding process that pump £5 billion into the English Premier League in the last TV deal. Yet they go out of Europe, and we get viewers texting in going, English teams overhyped, overpaid, not good enough this level, as the lads said.
I agree with that. I think there's an exaggerated opinion of players and teams in England that are still at this moment in time behind Bayern Munich, behind Juventus this year certainly, and behind the big two in Spain, and Atletico, maybe you'd include that. But the thing the Premier League has going for it is it's an extremely competitive league, it's an exciting league, and in that respect I think it has the edge on all the other leagues. I've worked abroad, played abroad, worked abroad, coached abroad. Big teams abroad have it easy in certain games. Teams will roll over when they play the big clubs. The big clubs in England, that never happens. And we see instances of that all the time. We see, Chelsea at home to Crystal Palace 3 weeks ago getting turned over. So our football is still a far better watch, and I think that's what makes it exciting. I think going forward we'll have to manage it and be careful where the Premier League goes. But I think right now it still has the edge on all the other leagues. For Real Madrid and for Barcelona, they play lots of easy games. And what sort of league is the German league when Bayern Munich at the end of each season can go to the second biggest club in Germany, Dortmund, and take their best players? It was Hummels last year. Who's it going to be? Lewandowski the year before. Who's it going to be this year? So I think our league is still exceptionally strong. And in Spain, I watched some Spanish games, and before a ball's kicked, the camera pans around the stadium, Real Madrid or Barcelona. It looks like they're playing against semi-professional teams. Some of the stadiums are playing. They can't be very demanding on their players. Why do Messi and Ronaldo never miss a game? Because I don't think the demands are on them like they would be in the Premier League.
So I wouldn't altogether agree with that, because the Premier League has always been competitive. Yet and all in the late 90s and midway through the first 10 years of the millennium, the English teams were thereabouts semi-finals. I just think the quality has digressed, it's diluted over the last... since Fergie's left.
I started off by saying I agree with that.
That Man United team that Fergie left wasn't a great Man United team, but they won the league by 11 points. And since Fergie has left, I don't think there's been a special British-English team that we've seen in previous years.
Sorry, they want me to end this discussion, but I wanted to ask one question, Brian, and it follows on from the talk about the money in the Premier League now, and also the fact that the last two Premier League champions have not had European football. Could it get to a point where the Premier League, there's so much money there that they look at the Champions League and say, well, we don't need that. We'll just concentrate on the Premier League?
I don't think it'll get to that stage. I think what's more likely is the powerful clubs in Europe are getting closer to having their own league, and including some of the Premier League teams in it, an expanded Champions League, or a more regular fixture list among these teams. That's what the big clubs want to aim for, because they see the riches that are involved in those teams compared to their own league. Your Premier League, comparably, there's a lot more money going through the television part of it. But I don't think that's likely. I don't think your suggestion is likely. I still think that they want to work too, but they may have to compromise with that grouping of the big clubs.
Okay, we'll have to leave that there for the moment. We'll come back to that one though. Good chat, lads.